Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you are all well. As you might have seen on our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, we are going to be going live with Neil Etheridge, who is a goalkeeper for Birmingham City, and we're going to be asking him a few questions. And what we've done for this is, hello Kian. What we've done for this is currently our junior academy footballers have been doing a very, very good, extensive programme. Hello Toby. A good programme during lockdown, and it's probably some of the best content that we've had so far. And it's one of the things we wanted to do is we wanted to just get a little bit of input, because as you would have seen recently, you know, we've been releasing some of the players that we've been working with before, that we classified now as our future stars. So you had we were speaking about Harvey Elliott, we spoke about Nathan Bishop, we spoke about Miles Roberts, and we spoke about Nativ Yanko. So there's a few players there that we're putting under that bracket as future stars. Now, the sort of next series that we want to try and bring out is pros, so current pros, which is why we obviously wanted to speak to Neil, and then also legends as well. That's going to be our other series we're going to do. So past players that have obviously been in the game, etc. So I've actually got some questions that have been given to me from our junior academy footballers, and they're great questions. It'll be great. It'll be very interesting to see sort of some of the answers and some of the experiences that sort of Neil's had and stuff. So I'm going to try and get him in. Right, here we go. View requests. Right, here we go. We're going live, people. See how we get on. Connecting. Waiting for Neil. Yes.
What's going on? How are you?
Here we go. Yeah, not bad, mate. You?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Good. Well, cheers for doing this, mate. I mean, it's I've been looking forward to it all day. To be fair, we put out a lot. Sort of said to our younger lads, we said, right, what is it that you sort of want to know and stuff? And there's some cool questions here. To be fair, just to sort of get a little bit of an insight of yourself, really. I was just gonna say before, obviously we start. Obviously, my first. What was it? My first sort of experience seeing you, there was two actually. I think when I was at Fulham doing the academy goalkeepers, I remember seeing you training over there. And I always tell the story when I speak to people about you. You were in a session over the far side, because we used to have the goalkeepers over the far side, and you were doing like distribution, getting those little sidewinders out. It was that's one thing that I remember. And then I don't know if you remember this one, but we used to take like the under 8s and under 9s onto the pitch at like half time and stuff, and I remember bumping into you there, because obviously we have friends of friends and stuff that sort of introduced me to you at first, but I remember bumping into you on the pitch obviously when you were at Fulham and stuff. So that's what I was saying to the lads, and sort of like how we got to know each other and stuff. But how are you keeping? Are you all good?
Yeah, good. Been tough during lockdown, obviously. I think it's probably lasted a lot longer than we all expected. So football's obviously continued for the most part. It's not the same without supporters. It's really not. Whether it be celebrating a goal or getting some sort of stick behind the goal, it's not the same. You know, it's not the same. But hopefully, and I think it will happen, we'll get supporters back in the stadiums next season.
Yeah. Well, you got a big game Saturday, haven't you? Because it's against Coventry, isn't it?
Yeah, we ground share with Coventry, so it's kind of like a local derby. Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, both using the same pitch as well, but they had a good result last night. So yeah, now we're going to obviously do what we can at the weekends, and when it's a massive game for both of us.
Yeah, I was looking at the league table, and I think you're like 19th and they're like 17th or something. And I think if you win, you go like is it joint or maybe ahead or something like that?
Yeah, we go level points with them. You know, we're halfway through the season now. It's a transition period for Birmingham City Football Club, and obviously I'm extremely happy to be a part of it. We've had our ups and downs for the first half,
Yeah.
which we've obviously recognised. But half a season left to show what we can do. And the transfer window is still open for hopefully some new faces. I think that will come through the door. What's it now? Before the end of the week, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. No, brilliant. Well, best of luck on Saturday. So I've obviously gathered all of these questions, and there was more than was on my sheet. So I've tried to narrow it down to what I would say are the most interesting ones. So I'm just going to fly through some of these. You might have, a quick answer. You might have a long answer. It's completely down to you.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the first one, this is actually from a goalkeeper himself. So Jake Walker asked, "Who was your idol growing up?"
Oh, good question. I don't think it would have been a goalkeeper, to be honest. I think it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you've known me for a long time. Even when I was at school, still played outfield a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got people like David James. I mean, he was England's number one at the time when we were both growing up.
Yeah.
That I looked up to. There's a lot. I mean, I think Brad Friedel and people like that who are legends of the game. Edwin van der Sar. I wouldn't say there was one that really stood out. But no, I mean, when I started taking goalkeeping seriously, I think I was very fortunate to work alongside, a Premier League legend as Mark Schwarzer, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I used to stand by when I was obviously working with the youngsters over at Fulham, and I used to see you working with Schwarzer. I used to sit there and sort of, just take some tips away and stuff like that. But yeah, he was a true legend, which actually, to be fair, what you've just said actually leads to the second question. Mine is to say that, have you always been a goalkeeper? And that was from Jack as well.
No, I haven't. I mean, I think it's quite well documented. I used to play outfield. I wasn't the best, to be honest, but I think, it's always good. I think for the younger generation goalkeepers, especially now, football's come on so much. I mean, I'm not old or anything like that, but I'm sure in your coaching academy that you'll be teaching goalkeepers to use their feet a lot more than probably I was when I was growing up. It's obviously a very modern thing with the goalkeepers nowadays. I see some of the younger goalkeepers at Birmingham when they come and train with us, how developed they are with their feet, so I mean, obviously you've got the likes of Edison and Allison who are extremely comfortable with their feet at the highest level.
They could play out, couldn't they, to be honest with you?
Yeah, I mean, Edison could sit as a number 8 or number 6 with no problem whatsoever, but for the majority of people, I think kicking and using the feet has not been something that our generation has grown up with, really. It's probably just started to come in.
I mean, it's something that, to be honest, with all, with our college program, our junior football academy program is, we have 2 sessions for the juniors, and obviously we train every day with the college, but we encourage the goalkeepers to play out as much as you can. Modern day goalkeepers, I always used to say, they've now got to be able to have every club in the golf bag, a variety of different passes, short, long, driven, little daisy cut, a lot of it. So it is, it's an essential. They've got to be just as good with their feet as they are with their hands these days. But yeah, this next one's quite an interest. So the next 2, actually, I think they're people that. So one of them, I think, like their dad maybe went to the same school, but their question was, who was your favourite Courtmore teacher?
Wow, Courtmore teacher.
I was like, what? How do you even know? He was like, I was like, well, I suppose, was there any sort of teachers at your school that maybe sort of saw you as a bit of a raw talent or an athlete that you maybe, because everyone sort of has that relationship with PE teachers and stuff like that. I don't know whether yours was the same.
Yeah, PE teachers, Mr. Bear. He was the head of Courtmore. I'm not sure if he's there. I don't think he's there anymore. He might be. I'm not sure.
Right.
To see if I was a special talent, I don't ever think I was, if I'm honest. I mean, I remember I played for the district team, but I never got into the county team, which was obviously people were well, how can you get into district but not get in the county? I was at Chelsea Academy at the time. I I'm sure there'll be other questions about it, but obviously everyone's path to where they end up is completely different, and there's not one the same.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right, and where was it? I've tried to put them in order. So one of them, this guy's dad apparently went to school with. Is it Rob Gear? Did you
Yep.
play? Did you play in the national team with him? That's the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, so I played the national team with Rob for many years. He was at
Mhm.
Wimbledon and had a fairly successful career. Um, I've played for about 4 or 5 years with him. He was my national team captain for a long time.
Yeah,
He's a great guy. Obviously, still keeping contact. He's over here in the UK. He's based in the UK. He's now working with, I believe, he's the head of Reading's Women's Academy, it's like the first team and everything like that. Academy, director or whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he stayed in football after his career, which was great.
Yeah.
There were big things whether he was going to go and be national team coach, but I think he preferred to stay over here in the footballing world.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a little chance for Charlie's dad to do a little name drop there, to be honest. um, but yeah, okay. So, biggest stadium you've played in? That was from. Who's that from? Oh, that was from a Jack as well. Biggest stadium.
Biggest state, the biggest attendance I've played in it would be abroad against Indonesia. There's 100,000 people in the stadium. That was
Oh wow.
unbelievable. The biggest stadium probably here in the UK, it's got to be either Old Trafford or Wembley.
Yeah.
Neither of them at the time were sellouts, but obviously to have that experience I say that, I think Old Trafford may have been, it was the last game of the season, so
Mm-hmm.
I think that may have been a sellout.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, both of those stadiums, Wembley, Old Trafford, were just unbelievable experiences, to be honest.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
kind of, as you grow up, it's people, it's the theatre of dream for a reason, isn't it, really?
Yeah. No, yeah, I can imagine. I'll be shaking, mate, if I walked out onto that Wembley pitch. Right, so this one is from Andrew, who's actually he's quite a bit of a die-hard sort of Fulham fan, but very, very focused lad. And he said, "What did you do to make sure you made it pro, even when you weren't playing first team football?"
Um, yeah, it was tough. My time at Fulham was tough. It was mixed. I was in the mix of four goalkeepers, obviously Mark Schwartz and Pascal Zubabula, myself, David Stockdale.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Some big
Mark,
goalies there as well. To be fair, there's some good names there as well, aren't there?
yeah, some names that haven't kind of just tailed off. They've all had great careers, all older than me.
Yeah.
They Stocker was always the one that they wanted to kind of get out on loan, to push, to maybe eventually take Schwartz's place. But I think all credit to Mark, he never let it happen because I think his career went on. He retired when he was 41, 42.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to be honest, it was tough. I went out on loan a few times. I was recalled and then went back out on loan again. I said I never really played a full season of football till I was 25, which is unusual because normally now they're going out a lot earlier than I was able to at the
Yeah.
time. And it all depends on the system of the club and whether they want you to go out on loan or not really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. I just saw Andrew commented in there. So he's like, what is he, 14, 15 years old? And yeah, he's a very focused boy, so we appreciate stuff like that. All right, there's two questions here, so I'm going to put them together. So best player you've played against and best player you've played with.
I actually, funnily enough, I had a little press interview yesterday and I got asked who would be in my in my five-a-side team.
Yeah, go on.
Didn't play many games. I didn't play really with him, but training wise in the same squad, Dimitar Berbatov.
Yeah.
Extreme talent. Obviously, fantastic career.
Mm.
So with him against, to be honest, when to be fortunate enough, like I have been, to play in the Premier League, when you're playing the likes of De Bruyne, Aguero. The list just goes on, mate. Honestly, that team that went on to win the league that year was unbelievable. How many? You got Mo Salah, Firmino, people like that. There's millions of names that I haven't mentioned. The Man United team, Rashford, so young, so quick, and everything. That the elite of the elite, to be honest.
I suppose if you sort of turn around and you say, like, you're on the pitch right now and you think, oh my gosh, like, you know, that sort of little bit of like, he could really like hurt us. Do you know what I mean? Is there one that sort of, you know, sort of probably stands out more than ever? You're thinking, oh no, we're playing against.
I think, to be honest, I mean, the two, I mean, I know you want one, but I'll give De Bruyne and Aguero. I mean, De Bruyne will pick out a pass that you can't even see,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous, and you'll be able to execute it down to a T. I say that Pogba weren't bad either, but like, and also like Aguero, obviously from a goalkeeper's point of view, I mean, Aguero can be extremely quiet for moments of the game, and then all of a sudden he'll just put one past you. You know, they're so clinical. I mean, I think that was probably the biggest thing for me being able to play at that level, how clinical they were.
Yeah.
You know, can people justify how much, I guess, football players get paid or how much they're worth? I mean, that's always up for discussion. But when people say, oh, how, you know, why are they worth that much? I mean, even for me, I was like, how is Aguero worth X amount of millions of pounds? I mean, you only have to play against them, and you're in the market value. You understand why.
I suppose as a goalkeeper as well, like obviously your focus is on the whole game, but there's got to be a little part of you. You're sort of looking at it out the corner of your eye, thinking, I've got to keep an eye on him, like whilst I'm focused on everything else, because at any moment he could like hurt me. Do you know what I mean? Like hurt the team. So yeah, I mean, it's got to be what a great power that he has to be able to frighten people in that sort of way. It's just ridiculous. I've got an interesting one here. What is it like playing in the Premier League, and how different is it to the Championship?
Yeah, it's a good question. We just kind of touched on it there. I mean, the boys who play in the Premier League week in, week out, year on year, there is something special about them. I think they are, I wouldn't say they're superhuman, but they're physically and naturally stronger. They see the game a lot quicker, being able to execute things that on a more regular basis that Championship players wouldn't be able to. When you talk about the strikers, they hit the target. I mean, the amount of times that you're there in goal and you think, he's not going to be able to at Championship level in the Premier League. They hit the target and they make the goalkeeper work, and that's the main thing, to be honest.
Okay, it's just one of those battles, isn't it? Championships. It's just like a proper battle to get out, isn't it?
I think the Premier League and the Championship, I think there's so many different sort of teams that you have in the Premier League. In the Championship, it is probably more of that's why people do argue the case that it's a more interesting league to watch, purely because of the fact that, you know, it's a lot of battling. I guess it's more, in a sense, it's more relatable for a lot of people. You know, like I said, in the Premier League, you're executing 60-yard passes on a literally to a T. So that's tough.
Okay, I've got two more questions on here. This one is coming from Connor, who's a goalkeeper, and he wants to know how long are your training sessions and how many per week. So I'm assuming he's possibly talking goalkeeping specific, maybe.
It depends what manager you've got. It depends on your week. Obviously, you've got 2-game week, 1-game week. Some managers like a 2-day build up, some like a 4-day build up. So when I say that, some like, you know, sometimes it all depends on the management, if I'm honest. I've been with managers who will have a day off after a game, but then you'll be in for 2 days, off for a day, in for 2 days. Some you're in pretty much every day. It really does depend. I mean, goalkeeping wise, normally the goalkeepers will go out early before the rest of the team. So we'll get at least half an hour's worth of work in each day. And then with the team, it can be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, depending on what we're doing. Normally, if we've got a Saturday to Saturday game, the first 2 days of the week are extremely hard. And then obviously you start to calm down a little bit towards the end of the week because you've got obviously a battle on Saturday.
So so obviously, is it every training session you'll be with your goalkeeping coach, or will you? Yeah, so everyone you'll have a certain amount of time with them.
Yeah, so every single day will be with the goalkeeping coach. We'll obviously we'll work on different bits, different pieces. It just depends. I think it depends on when the manager wants you over.
Yeah.
Depending if you're doing some team shape, you're doing possession, maybe they need you for shooting drills, crossing and finishing. To be honest, it is really, really tough to say. It changes on a day to day. But yeah, I think, like I said, we go out early as goalkeepers to get at least half an hour's worth of work in going into the session with the team.
Okay, right. Now, this was possibly one of the most saddest questions that somebody sent in. But it says, actually, no, it says, what do you want to do when you retire?
I got no plans of retiring just yet, but I think it's a tough one. I think, to be honest, your career goes really quickly. I mean, it wasn't, I look back and only, yesterday I'm kind of like 22 years old, and I'm a lot older than that on paper now. So it will come round. I think for any player, it's all about concentrating on your career. Obviously I've got aspirations of getting back up to the Premier League, continue doing well here at Birmingham, and progressing, moving forward. After my career, I mean, it just depends. I think for any player, it's all about keeping their options open, whether it be media, whether it be coaching roles, depending on what sort of coaching roles, like yourself, setting up an academy. I mean, you've got to just keep, and it moves so fast. I mean, only, if I say I want to retire in 8 to 10 years, if you think back 8 to 10 years, I mean, we didn't have this sort of social media as much as we did. Exactly, the media wasn't as prominent. So you just got to keep current, and I will, obviously take that part of my life more seriously when I come around to it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a scary thought. I mean, right now we have sort of, with the college program running, we have boys that are coming to the end of that, and they're sort of asking the questions like, what do I want to do? And a lot of them want to pursue and play and do as much football as you can, regardless of what level it's at. But it's like, there's a world outside of it, and that's sort of, I think everyone has to have that realization that obviously you can't play forever, and just sort of keep yourself, clued up, especially with everything that's sort of going on now. But yeah, just the final thing is the last one. What would your advice be to any sort of young footballers?
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot, and I think it's a bit of a boring answer that I have, which is not going to help anyone. But it's just enjoy it. I know it sounds so simple, enjoying it. I remember, I'll never forget. I remember the first year at Cardiff. I went down to the academy section. Obviously, when everything's open, I went to watch maybe the under nines or something like that. And one of the kids' parents come up to me and was like, "Oh, my son's a goalkeeper. What advice would you give?" I said, "Mate, look, you're 9 years old. Enjoy it. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Enjoy it, because it does come. There comes a time, obviously, if you're fortunate enough to progress, maybe through an academy, depending on how old you are, when you reach in football, where I wouldn't say the enjoyment's sucked out of it, because we're very privileged people to be doing what we're doing. But there comes an element of a lot more pressure, a lot more, thought process. It becomes, obviously, like I said, you've got more training, more meetings, more analysis. And I'm not saying that it's not fun, because it is. You learn to love it. But I think there's a lot less pressure, even though I think it feels like there's more pressure when you're younger. I think if you can try to adapt yourself to not have that pressure upon you, just enjoy the game, enjoy playing, making mistakes, trying new things, trying new positions. And I think that's a major thing. I mean, you may think, oh, I'm really good at, I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, we have I say kid, he's like 19 years old, but a guy called Zach Gcock here at Birmingham City. And he came up through the academy, and he was a centre-half. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that he then became a goalkeeper. And now he's training with unfortunately he's injured at the moment, but now he's training with the first team as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So, people recognise, oh, maybe this is not your right position. I mean, you see so many people maybe going from a centre-half to a centre-forward, or vice versa, centre-forward to a centre-half. and just keeping your mind open, just keeping it open, saying like, you know, try new things. With a bit of experience, I think we had an analysis not too long ago about understanding other people's positions, because you know, if you don't understand their position and how they feel, then if you know, wrap a ball into your right back and he doesn't want it, then you're never going to be able to understand it unless you kind of do it. So yeah, but I mean, for kids and the younger players, just enjoy it, have fun, and just see where it takes you, to be honest.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's sometimes to be honest, mate, as much as you say it might be boring advice, like sometimes people need to strip it right back, and that is it. Like, to be fair, we all play the game, we coach the game because we love it and we enjoy it. And sometimes when people will go into too much detail, advice and stuff, but just strip it right back and just say, just enjoy yourself. Do you know what I mean? And you know, whenever you are enjoying yourself, you don't know where it was going to take you. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the real passion for it. So.
Yeah, and there's no right or wrong way to the top or wherever you end up. I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think maybe my career is a little bit like that. I never knew where I was going to be at 21, 22, 23. Like I said, I didn't play a full season of football till I was 25.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of things, you've got people playing full seasons at 19 years old. So there's many people, I think, as I said, enjoy the game as long as you can. Enjoy just like you said, stripping it back, taking the pressure away from you. There's so many people that want to get involved, you know, not saying unfortunately, but whether it be friends or, you know, even parents or stuff like that. Just enjoy it. You know, you get, like you said, you get involved in the game because you love it.
Yeah.
And you play the best football when you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Well, I think, to be honest, mate, I just want to say thank you, because I don't think you realise sometimes, especially with everything we're going through at the moment, just, you know, I've seen a lot of the younger lads coming in there and start sort of like giving it the thumbs up and all that sort of stuff. So I think it means a lot to them, mate. So I really appreciate it. We're doing everything we can right now to keep them all active and engaged and stuff. So stuff like this is massively helpful to them. So I appreciate it. But yeah, good luck with the game at the weekend, and hopefully you can beat Coventry. And from what I've seen on here, mate, it looks like you might need to go back to Cardiff. Everyone's like, come back to Cardiff, come back to Cardiff. That's what I see. I'm just seeing it coming up. Come back to Cardiff, come back to Cardiff. I was like, oh, gosh. But yeah, no, I appreciate that, mate.
No, thank you very much. Cheers for having me, mate.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. I'll speak to you soon.
Top man.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.